Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's up, Vons? What's up, Chaos? What is going on? Happy Friday. That's weird. I like put them on two different things. What it do that for? Look at this. Not just this. You want to see something nuts? So the Pistons are obviously the first in the Eastern Conference. But look at when I click the whole league. Look who number one is. Oh yeah. Look at that. That's pretty epic. Them Detroit Pistons. I could go a little lower. There we go. Them Detroit Pistons. Look at them go. Isn't this so good? And the reason this is so good is look at this. Just 2 years ago. All the way down on the worst in the whole league. That's what's nuts. That 2 years later, they're top. That is nuts. And the best thing is it's like all the same players. So if we go to the Pistons, schedule from we set the record for most losses in a row and we were actually trying to win. Look at this. All those in a row. We're actually trying to win too. Look at this. We got like Cunningham, Duran. Ivy just got traded, Sag. I did not want to trade Jaden Ivy. Asar Thompson. I have his jersey. Um Asar Thompson. Stewart, that's my favorite player. I have his bobblehead. We gotta have Sasser, Marcus Sasser. But what I'm saying is like what's cool about this is is roster. Right? So this is this year. Cunningham, Duran, where is he? Sasser, Stu, Asar, and well, I guess the depth chart would be better. So Sasser is down here, but he was always all the way down there. To be fair, he was just like an injury fill. And but look at this, all the same players like Cunningham, Thompson, Duran, and Isaiah Stewart. Right? They're both suspended. Jalen Duran suspended for the next 2 games, even though he's going to the All-Star game, and Stu is suspended for 7 games. But he was protecting Jalen Duran. He saw someone try to throw a cheap shot at Jalen Duran. That guy got more suspension than Jalen Duran is, but Stu ran off the bench at the guy that threw a cheap shot. We were watching it on stream actually, but then I got a copyright notification on YouTube for watching it on live stream. Also, what's up, Nihilism? How you doing, mate? What's up, Twitch Finny? But this is what's awesome is it's not even like it's a completely different team and we overhauled it and now we're like it's like no, we just like stuck with these players. We were like no, we believe in these players and we're doing it. We're doing big things. That shit is awesome. Just happy it's Friday, right? So I put on, yeah. Now, what if this crashes my PC though? I did not have music playing yesterday. But I had that other day where it didn't crash and we were playing music. That's why I don't think it's an issue. The card sag actually sounds like the most likely thing to me now. But I did not get that thing. It was not delivered yet. So even if it crashes today, it didn't crash yesterday, but also there's a few more very end of the line things we can try before starting to replace stuff. We have like 3 more things basically to try. Well, really 2 more before starting to replace stuff and see if it works. So the next 2 things, and this is the thing, if it crashes today, I still am not counting this because there's the next thing we need to try. Um, and technically we're on the new thing we need to try, but I actually now don't even think that's what fixed it because we got to the older NVIDIA driver that we wanted to anyway, but the other ones probably should have worked anyway and did for like whole days. You know what I mean? Just like yesterday. But before we started getting into hardware, because it looked everything was pointing to being the driver failing, right? But why was the driver failing? And then that's why we went to like older drivers, and there was like 2 more things we can try. The next thing I actually think is the most likely. That's why I was like, now that I'm thinking about it and how it worked, would be card sag. My graphics card. So it's funny because we were in there and he said something about card sag, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, and he was like, does your computer have any card sag? And I was like, yeah. I was like, not that bad though. I was like, for 8 years old, it's not that much card sag. And he was like, any card sag is bad. And I was like, oh. I was like, I see. The specs are 1080 Ti graphics card, i7 8700K. I do not have a support bracket, no. But here's the funny thing. The one thing I was not paying attention to, just because for years this was fine, and it usually probably takes a second before it crashes anyway. But it's fucking huge, right? And it's like sitting next to my leg, and I'm like, I don't always like sit completely still, right? So like sometimes my legs will be going in and out, like knocking against it a little bit, going back and forth, And I wasn't really paying attention to that. But yeah, I have a support bracket coming. It was supposed to come today. It probably still will come today. It just isn't here yet. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that, and I was like, that would make the 2 things that make the most sense to me now. Not even because we have literally one more total software thing we can try, which would be uninstalling Windows and then reinstalling 24H2 instead. Even though I never had that one, and we've had days working on this one, but you know what I mean. It was just something else we could try before having to actually spend money on stuff. But the bracket I got right. I was like, that probably makes sense to me. If any sag is bad, you know. I was like, yes, I definitely have sag then, because I was like, yeah, for 8 years it's looking great. you know, whoops. And then he told me specifically I should take it out and then re-put it back in and then put the thing on. So I'm not going to end the stream if the thing gets here today, but if it crashes and the thing is here, I might do that. Been sagging for 8 years. But here's the good thing though, is like when we were talking about getting into the hardware on what to do, because I looked up graphics card and I was thinking since mine's outdated, it's not even outdated. That's the thing. Is apparently it's a great card, because it's got 11 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM or something, and what we were looking at was it could be a power supply first, and the thing was to even get the power supply checked to see if it is the power supply, I would have to spend money anyway, and then I could literally just buy a power supply. And I was like, this is like Schrodinger's power supply, whether it's dead or not. I was like, I'd rather just buy the power supply, put it in, and if it doesn't have any problems, it was the power, then it was the power supply. If it wasn't, then it's like, oh well, I was already going to spend money to have them check if it was the power supply anyway. So The next thing would have been a graphics card, right? And I was looking because I thought it would have to be comparable, right? So I'm looking at what was I looking at? And this was like $800, you know. So it was like, fuck, drop $800, but because it was like a 12 gigabyte DDR7 RAM though, it was like newer now because I thought I had to get like comparable, and he was like, no, 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 no. He was like, especially if you were just going to test. He was like, honestly, and this was really good to hear. He was like, even for what you're just doing, even though your gear is old, he was like, it honestly is a bit overkill. He was like, you should. So like the card he was suggesting that if we tried everything else and now we could try the card and we would have to try a new card. This is before, we have to get this. I'm not doing this before I support it with the thing, obviously, and I'm not touching my PC at all. But that's the thing; it's already sagging, so if it crashes, I'm still gonna be like, I need to try putting it back in with the support. But yeah, that's what he was saying. He was like, "You don't need much, and what you have is honestly overkill." And I was like, "Well, that's good to know." So he was saying, look at a 1660 graphics card that was like $180 ish, and I was like, perfect. Because I was thinking like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to spend like $800. And it was like, no. If even if it was the graphics card, which would be the more annoying thing, right? Well, he said the most annoying thing would be the motherboard because he'd have to redo like an entire build essentially. Um, I don't know. Would the processor be worse? I had air cooling, not liquid cooling. Apparently, there's. I just read something about AI using too much water. I was like, AI using water? Apparently, they're all using liquid cooling. I'm like, don't you just need air cooling? Well, like, I guess if it's working that hard, I suppose, right? Because that's my friend. Because I didn't even put the parts for this PC together. My friend, I mean, I put it together, right? My friend, I was in New York City, but my friend I knew from Michigan, he was the one telling me about PC because he was on like his second or third PC already. This is in 2018, and I was just like, oh yeah, So he basically put all the parts together, showed me how to put it into. I don't know if this website exists anymore, but it was like PC part compatibility or something to make sure they all fit and make sure you're not going to run into issues. And which none of them did. And he was like, all right, so you just get all those, He was like, you can wait for sales if you want to, or you can just buy them all at once if you want to as well. It's up to you. And I was like, all right. And that's what I did. I actually thought I bought most of them together. When something went on sale, I bought other stuff with it. That's what I ended up doing. But my RAM was expensive. I was like, huh. Because I got 32 gigabytes of RAM for like 400-ish, like it was like 375-ish. But I was like, that's expensive. Because when I got that another 32 gigabytes of RAM like 4 years later in 2022, and it was like 100 I mean, it was the same RAM, so now it was like outdated, but it was like $125 or something. And I was like, well, apparently I didn't know the price of RAM was up or down, and I bought RAM when it was expensive when I built this PC. The first round of RAM, I should say. PC parts picker, I think that is what it is, yeah. And they have like a compatibility thing where you put the parts in to make sure it works together. Oops, I didn't even have it on random, and I didn't even notice till how many Beach Boys songs. That's hilarious. I don't even edit on this. I edit on my laptop. My laptop's got 64 as well, though. Because I was like, I want this thing to last me 10 years because my last laptop lasted me 10 years. But that's why it had enough RAM to split the RAM so I could run Windows Boot Camp on, because it's a MacBook. Because my dad's a teacher, and if you're a teacher or a student, you get like 20. I don't know if this is anymore, but at least in 2020, it was 25% off. Because I was looking at gaming PCs, or not gaming PCs. Sorry, I was looking at like a gaming laptop or something, and my mom told me because I was like, I'm looking at get a gaming laptop. She was like, well, I don't know if it's for gaming, but you get a big discount if you're on Mac. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, let me look at that then. And then I started looking up, can I run Windows on Mac? And it was like, you can, through two different ways. Like one where you split the resources, and one where it just goes all in, and you just like open it up from Windows. I actually think that's the one I was doing because I liked how it ran better. Where you had to boot it up in Windows as opposed to running like a Windows window on Mac. I could do both, but that's what I was thinking. And that's when I started streaming on the MacBook. Because I visited my parents for like a few months until my bar opened back up in 2021. So those MacBook streams were when I was at my parents' place. That was when I really started streaming like pretty much every night because there was nothing else to do and I just got sober. Like that is how I got sober. I had my parents for help. I was scared actually when my bar went back up. It was like we're going, but I wasn't even scared about going to work. It was literally just like, okay, like hopefully I can you know? But it was actually the stream that helped a lot with that because there's people checking up on me, like, every day almost, you know? Alright, let's run DBD. Yeah, I was running DBD. There's some MacBook clips. When I played against One Pump Willie, I was on the MacBook, actually. So if you look up One Pump Willie's YouTube, he has a video called, like, Ending Streamers' Careers or something, and, I'm, like, the first clip in that one. That shit was hilarious. I wasn't even talking trash or anything. Like, I actually thought it was really funny. You guys know I love talking trash, but we just got, like, plowed over, and I was like, well, holy shit. I was like, well, the killer had a great game, but that was a terrible game, or some shit like that. But then he did, like, some super stylish hook, and I was like, well, that was the most stylish hook I've ever seen in my life. Like, stuff like that. It wasn't any type of bad, but that was actually how I really met One Pump Willie. I've known him since then. But that clip was on the Mac, and it's funny because the MacBook screen, because I could have used another monitor, but I didn't have another monitor. My monitors were in New York, obviously. So I was just like, oh, fuck it, I'll do. And there was a teeny little bit of input lag, but nothing, like, terrible. That was hilarious. But, like, the dimensions were not quite normal. So it was, like, stretched a little bit. Not in an advantageous way either. But you can kind of notice if you look hard at the clips just a teeny little bit. Because it's the dimensions of the MacBook screen. Oh my god. This is the first time in literal years I didn't make it to Iridescent 1 because of those PC issues. I was like, it's rank reset already. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't get to play, like, almost at all. That's terrible. I missed you guys so much. I was starting to get upset yesterday, not even just because of that. Of just, like, the PC issues, because I was like, I know we can get it fixed, but it was like, fuck, man, I just want to, like, hang out and not worry about it, you know, always, you know? But I actually think that, like, even when it crashes today, I still feel like, because I'm not touching it or anything, but I still feel like the card sag is it, actually. It explains everything. Why some days it would work fine, and other days it wouldn't. And the other thing that I was, like, noticing too was I was like, why does it always seem to crash when we're getting excited or like we're talking about something super fun, and then it's like, no. And I was like, it's because I could probably just be like hitting my PC with my leg because I'm like rocking in my chair, and then when I land I like hit, and I was just like, fuck. That's sad. Copycat challenge, I'm saving up for that type of shit. So I want to get all my killers to Prestige 10. I want to get all of them to Prestige 10. I've been working on it. And then a lot of these killers got to Prestige 3 during the cake event, because that's what I'm going to be spending. I mean, I'm spending them on killers anyway. But got to Prestige 3 during the cake event, so they have like 120-ish on average, I'd say. But then when I got down to, I think it's Blight's Row, right? Yeah, Pyramid Head, Slinger's got, yeah, okay. And then, but Blight's Row, right? Right, so it's... But I have, Nemesis has 3, got 3 prestiges because we were getting near the end of the event, and I was like, oh, who do I prestige now? And I think I did Nemesis, Dredge because he had good skins, Artist because also good skins, Singularity because good skins and fun to play, unless you get indoor map. I think I didn't get to any of these rows either, so it was like, how many did I not get? 3, 5, 8, 12, 15. But these don't have any, so I have to get these 3 prestiges during the new event. Which I'm hoping, well, that's the problem, is like with the thingy, it's going to be like... Hopefully, as long as we get the crashes fixed, then hopefully we'll be able to, you know. I have not tried the copycat challenge, though. But that's what I've been saving up for, basically. I've been manually spending, too, because when you auto-spend, you don't get as many good, like, add-ons and stuff. Like, Nurse's Prestige 6. Now, Nurse was when I was still getting perks and shit, too, obviously. So that's the other thing, was when you were auto-spending, they were going towards perks and stuff, too. But mainly the cakes were better on auto-spend than they were versus manually spend. So that's why I was auto-spending. Plus, it was like 150 million blood points, you know? So I was actually relieved that it was better on auto-spend instead of having to sit there and manually spend it for 3 straight days, you know? But, like, look at how much better the add-ons got, like, down here by manually spending it for all 3 prestiges. Like how many better add-ons we got at same prestige 6, right? Like look how much better we got, like twice as much basically of like good add-ons and just add-ons in general. And like party streamers, right? He's got 18 party streamers. How many does Nurse get? Three. You know what I mean? Like manually spending is just so much better. But in events, if you're getting event add-on or items and add-ons, in the past at least, I'm still gonna test it because I have like another 50+ million blood points on my Switch to be able to spend. But I'm gonna spend that on Arella. So Arella has a shit ton of cakes, and then through the event, I'm gonna catch these guys up, like get these all prestige 1, get these prestige again, then give Nemesis like a few days worth of prestige because I love Nemesis obviously, and then I was gonna spend the rest on like the last few days on Arella. To give Arella like, hopefully like a few thousand cakes by the end of the event. And then Spingtarp got a like endless amount of cakes, so Spingtarp is going to be my killer jumpsuit Jake. Because when I'm saving up to have 10 prestiges, I've been trying to get these survivor tomes done. Because the killer tomes go way faster, number one, but number two, he's going to be my jumpsuit Jake where I smoke and warm up. But I like playing him, so it's not just going to be on warm-up games. Maybe I'll like change skins after like the first 2 matches of being, you know, stoned. And I'll like put on, oops. Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Put on like another one. Put on Glitch Trap or something. Okay. I'll only put this on because it's new event. Oops. Oh, right. It is open lobbies if anybody wants to join. Sorry it took me so long yapping to get here. But the copycat challenge is something I definitely want to do. That's where you play Survivor, and then you play Killer, and then you play Survivor, and then you play Killer, right? Problem with me, if I'm playing Survivor, like on a challenge like this, if we just get... Because Killer had copy pasta too. I make fun of it way more on of Survivors, specifically while I'm playing Killer. Because you see it way more when you're playing Killer. But when you see Pain Res Grim Embrace, and it's like the first thing you see, especially when it's like Pain Res Grim Embrace with like Corrupt, you see, already know it's like 3. It's like, oh man, never seen this before. You know, it's fun to talk some trash. At least while it's going on. It's a waste of time to sit there in a post-game chat. I don't know why people do that. It's just more fun to talk trash while the game's going on. And then move on to the next game. Missing 12 killers. Yeah, that is the thing. If you get into DBD, it's pretty rough. Because there's so many DLCs. I'm going to make a video about the best build for survivors, or solo queue survivor specifically, and it's going to be like parentheses, specifically newer players. And that's going to factor into the decision, or what I think. Because they're all common perks, so you don't even have to spend on multiple survivors to get anything like it. You just get one survivor, and pretty much by prestige, or not prestige, sorry, prestige 0. By Blood Web level 30, you'll have like the whole build at T3, which is all common perks. Kindred will make it, Resilience, and Deja Vu. That is such a great solo queue perk. If you want to switch in now that Decisive Strike is a common perk, you can switch in Decisive Strike instead. Instead of Resilience, I'd say. But I like Resilience more than Decisive Strike, personally. You just get more value out of Resilience in solo queue. Decisive Strike, yes, will save your ass, but how often do you get like hard tunneled in solo queue? It seems like a lot because you remember all the times it happened, you know? Especially when you're a newer player. I don't remember really, but I have like thousands of hours, so it's just like, that's why it's fun to talk trash when the game's going on, and then you're on to the next game. Who gives a shit? You know? That's why I was like, I don't really remember how often it happens, but maybe that does... Do I get tunneled more than I think? You know, does it even happen like once a day? Like, that's the thing, is like in my head, I'm like, does it even happen once a day? And it's like, yes, you idiot, you get tunneled like 4 times a night. And I'd be like, oh, whoops. That's the problem. That's the other thing, too, is a lot of times when you're getting tunneled, there's like a gen done, and there's 3 other gens that are like about to pop. So even though you're like, I'm getting tunneled, and there's one gen done, like, it still doesn't stick in my head as I'm getting tunneled, because it's like, yeah, this guy has to do this, because there's basically one gen left, you know? It's more fun to talk trash when it's like, all them slowdowns we were talking about, none of the gens done, no gens have any progress, and you're just getting hard tunneled. That's when it's fun. You sit there and talk some trash. Not in the post game, but like I said, why would you waste all your time waiting for the killer to finish their game to then talk trash in the post game? Like, I don't get that. Although now people can just spam TLDR and leave, right? Yeah, corrupt Blight is the funniest, because Blight should get a fast first down. That's why it's fun to make fun of it. You're like, we're probably going to get crushed by this shit, because we're not in communications, but at the same time, it's fun to make fun of. Talking trash is fun. It's a video game. Same with sports. Like, the thing, if somebody says trash talk is always bad, it's like, let's go to a basketball game. Wait for the other team to shoot and completely miss the backboard. Or not even just the backboard, but completely miss the rim. Right? And then tell me you don't shout airball with the rest of the crowd. The rest of the home crowd. It's fun. Everybody has a good time doing it. Except for the person that airballed. And even sometimes they think it's funny. Because that's just like the most common thing. And yes, that's trash talk, you know? It's like the most simple form of trash talk ever. But the whole crowd is trash talking all together. It's beautiful. Somebody takes a shot and they miss everything. Air ball! And everybody has a laugh. It's fun. And that's trash talk. And people take trash talk too far too, but that's not what that is. That's why I talk about that in trash talk video. Like, then it's not trash talk anymore. Because trash talk is supposed to be meaningless. You can just throw it away. And that clip of Rasheed Wallace. You know, like, I'm not talking about, like, nobody's mom, wife, or, you know, kids, nothing like this shit. I'm just, like, talking about that person's game, like, defense, you know? Like, exactly. It is totally free. Exactly. It doesn't cost a thing to have some fun. And then you can turn games like that where you're like, we're going to get mowed down in just a fun time to sit there and yap all game. It's fun. I probably should be saving that one anyway. I gotta remember not to wiggle my leg. I literally actually am thinking the sag is what it is. 8 years worth of sag is a long time. Because every like few years, I unplug everything, I take it out, and then I take it outside, and then I dust the fuck out of it, wipe it down, do all that shit. With the air, oxygen things where you're blowing it and wiping it down, like doing all the different little things. But that's why I knew it was already sag. I didn't even have to look at it. Because I still haven't opened it up and looked at it. I just remember looking at it what was that, like September-ish, I think? It was either September or October when I did it. I remember seeing sag and being like, hey, that looks pretty good for 8 years, though. I literally remember seeing the sag and then, like, thinking that. And then he said any sag was bad. And I was like, whoops. And I was not exactly paying attention most of the time whether my leg was bonking up against the case, because the case is fucking huge. I'm thinking about it now, obviously, but even then, if it freezes, like, sag is bad and I still have something to try. Which is very good. Oh, God. That was really relieving to hear, though, because when you think my gear is 8 years old, But every time we put it through any stress test, it was literally not even getting worked to like 50%. And it was on a stress test. It should have been getting worked hard. I left that shit running for 3 hours. It also kind of makes sense why it's never crashed while playing Guitar Hero, because I'm too far away from my desk or from the actual computer to even like kick it really. Because I have to put my chair up and scoot back a little bit. I have to sit upright while playing Guitar Hero. Where'd the dog go? See, Ace is actually the reason that we went to all common perk build, which I'm glad how it turned out. I actually like this build better, specifically for that purpose of not having to level up like a specific survivor. Your very first survivor, you're gonna get it. And then I can even talk about, and for that reason, I would try to get survivors to, oh shit, Prestige 3. I hate running shack. That's just boring as fuck. Damn it. I was like, you can't juke because he's got 3 hits or 3 jumps. I was like, the only way we can do is jump the window and hope he like gets caught on the flaming pile of trash or something. If he only has 2 jumps, we could try juking the window. So I didn't realize a lot of people don't like, or survivors don't like the 2v8 that much because you get chased by both killers at times. And survivors are getting like salty. Yeah, exactly. 7 survivors can do the gens. I was gonna bring that up too. Like when you go down, just have some fun talking a little trash. Not in the post game. Not in the fucking post game where you're type of TLDR and no one gives a shit about or is gonna read. Just have to be like, haha, took both of you while all these other peeps on gens. It's fun. But I'm putting a compilation together for this where it's like the fun chases, because I have had chases labeled where there was like chased by both killers. It happens a lot, but sometimes you get good stuff to happen and it's like 14 times as fun because you just expect to go down immediately. And then when you don't, it's just like awesome. And that's the real fun, right? So it actually has real risk. So when something works, you're like 10 times as excited. Oh my goodness. I can't go that way either. No. I'm completely around the corner, but okay, fine. Whoops, that's the wrong button.